Our motto has always been to stay positive and stay focused, and that's been even more so throughout the past year since March with the pandemic and all the changes. We've worked with students and school districts and families to make sure that students have access to their education for the virtual setting, to make sure they can hear the audio on their home computers or Chromebooks or iPads. We've made sure that their assistive listening systems either plug into their devices at home or stream information to their hearing aids or cochlear implants. We have looked at different headphone options for students with unilateral hearing loss and maybe one hearing aid to make sure that they're receiving their education with both ears. So we've looked at different styles of headphones to make sure that they're getting information with both ears, because that's the way our brain is wired to hear best. We've provided virtual, school-based, and front porch services because things cannot always be fixed or set up correctly virtually. So we have met students where we've needed to.
Students with a hearing loss, we did have to change some of our instruction modalities. We've definitely become familiar with how to find closed captioning on Zoom or Google Meet, and we've taught the students how to do that. There's also ways that they can use their phones. Most of the older kids have their own cell phones, so we've taught them the app that they can put right by their computer if they're having trouble understanding a teacher. We've also used the chat feature in Zoom, especially if sometimes the connection's not working or for some reason one of us can't hear each other just because of something's going on with the computer. We can communicate through chat. So we have definitely had to find ways to accommodate the instruction. I just worked with a student, her name is Emmy, and she is in 2nd grade. I helped her with some of her schoolwork. We previewed her guided reading story that she's going to work on next week in reading class. And then we also, I helped her complete a cause and effect assignment from her teacher that was given online. And then at the end, since we had some free time left over, she wanted to read a book together. So we pulled up Epic and she picked one of her favorite stories and we partner read that. One of the other things that has changed as compared to a regular school year is our rapport with the parents. We definitely have to depend on them so much more to get the kids ready, to get them logged in sometimes if they're younger. There's schedule changes, things to arrange. So I think we've been communicating with the parents a lot more. We've kind of gotten to know them a little better. So that has been something positive that was unexpected through this whole situation.
This year's been pretty challenging. We've had to figure out different ways to, number one, connect to the students, because really there's no learning without a connection of some kind, and connecting through a computer screen is much more difficult than if they're right in front of you. Also, trying to keep the motivation going for them, because they're just staring at a screen all day, and they're not necessarily always seeing teachers. So we have changed from straight up interpreters, like I'm interpreting what a teacher's saying, to really we're doing a lot more teaching this year because we have the material in front of us, but not the teacher. When we are doing a video and we can pop ourselves in a little circle on the bottom and we can interpret so that the student can see the video and us interpreting at the same time. I like to use it when things like Google Meet isn't the best option. Like in the middle school, if they're doing a science experiment, sometimes the kid needs to see what the experiment, because they can't do it at home. So they need to see the experiment and they need to see the teacher, but they also need to see the interpreter. And since they can't pin more than one person on Google Meet, we like to record the Google Meet and then loom ourselves into it. And so that way the student can not only watch and get all the visual information they need, but they can also pause and rewind and watch again.
Working with students who are visually impaired virtually has been challenging for the teachers and the students and all families, because they don't have that materials they need online. So we have to have that all materials get ready, and sometimes we can drop off the materials at their house so they can touch their materials and braille stuff, even tactile icons. We're kind of figuring out all together, how to work, how to make it work. All vision teachers, didn't know what to do because we haven't done that before. But once we have like a regular meetings like on Zoom, we kind of share our information. So it's kind of team collaboration, all together from parents and the teachers and classroom teachers. I'm so proud of my students. They are visually impaired. Some students I work with, they have additional disabilities, like they are in a wheelchair. They need more support. But with that limitation, not being in the classroom, they kind of overcome their challenges and all difficult situation. So they learning something, so I'm so proud of them and their families and our kind of team collaboration.